Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my SHTF gun. Okay, shit hit the fan, and obviously it's an AR-15, but I'm going to be talking about why I picked this specific one. Now, when we're talking SHTF, we're not necessarily talking about our favorite gun to shoot. Okay, we're talking about a gun that is. Here's the thing: for SHTF, you've got no idea what the situation is. You don't know if you're going to be hunkering down in your home, or if you're going to be needing to leave your home. Okay, now even if you've prepared very well at your location, right? I mean, you could have a volcano that's erupting out from underneath you. Okay, I mean, you got no choice. You got to leave because that area of the country might get covered in lava. Okay, so we're talking about a situation where you've got no idea how it's going to unfold, where you're going to be going, or if you're going to be staying where you are. So I want to have the gun set up to give me the maximum flexibility. Okay, so the AR that I chose, and I chose an AR because it is going to be the most compatible with what everybody else out there has. Okay, so more people have ARs and are going to depend on them in an SHTF type of situation. So I want to be able to use the same ammunition, be able to like exchange spare parts, etc. Okay, so it's got to be an AR that shoots 5.56 223. That specifically shoots Tula steel case because that's what lots of people have stockpiled. Okay, and this gun shoots Tula really well. I mean, I think I've shot 2 inches or better at 100 yards with Tula, and I've shot 1 inch and better with regular like PMCs, 55 grain PMC X stacks. Okay, so the gun is very accurate, accurate enough. 1 MOA is plenty accurate, right, for SHTF. And very important, it shoots steel case, shoots it well, no hiccups. So those are two things that, like, number one, I mean, definitely, it's gotta be an AR, it's gotta be able to shoot steel case, and it's gotta be accurate. Okay. So this one over here, Radical Firearms, and I did a video. I have another Radical Firearms that I actually shot out the barrel on at 22,000 rounds. Okay, so I know what Radical Firearms can do, which is not going to be that much different from anything else. But hey, you know what? I know what a Radical can do. Okay, so I shot out the barrel 22,000 rounds. Over 22,000 rounds, I changed 3 trigger groups and 3 parts of the bolt. Okay, broke at different times. Okay, so obviously the trigger group, because trigger groups are rated for like 5,000 rounds. I think I went to like, I was getting about 8,000 rounds out of them. Okay, and then over the course of the 22,000 rounds, I think maybe one time I brought the extractor, another time I broke a firing pin, another time I think the gas rings went bad. So over the course of 22,000 rounds, which took me 4 years, and it wasn't just me shooting the gun, I was using it to train other people. So that's how I run up these high round counts. So over 4 years, I rang up 22,000 rounds. And by the way, the company did give me a replacement under their lifetime warranty. Okay, the only thing that was the same was the lower receiver, which had the serial number, and the grip, because I think it had a nice rubberized grip, so they gave me the same one. Okay, so Radical Firearms did honor their warranty. Okay, so I don't get paid by Radical Firearms, so I'm not like promoting them or anything, but I do appreciate that they honor their lifetime warranties without question, without asking me like, what am I doing with the guns, etc. Okay, so I know what the gun will do round count wise, but I mean the palmettos, for example, do pretty good. Okay, but now what the Radical Firearms does have that none of my palmettos have is they come with a Picatinny rail that goes all the way across the top. Now Palmetto may also offer that as well. It's just the ones that I bought don't have it. Now, for my day-to-day shooting, I prefer the hybrids. I prefer like Picatinny in the front, Picatinny in the back, and then M-LOK in the middle. It lightens up the gun. Okay, that's what I prefer for my day-to-day shooting. Okay, however, this is not for day-to-day shooting. In fact, this particular gun here, this Radical over here, has a fairly low round count. It's probably under 600 rounds. Okay, so this is not a gun that I'm just like pounding away at. Like I shoot every once in a while, confirm reliability, etc. But I don't just like pound away with this gun. I want to keep it fairly new. Okay, so like I said, for my day-to-day shooting, I like the hybrid rails. For an SHTF gun, I want Picatinny all the way across the top. And the thing that this gun has that none of my other ARs have, by coincidence, is that this has 15 inches of rail. Okay, so there's 15 inches of rail, which gives me a lot of real estate to put stuff on here. Now, I got another Radical, which I really love because that one's got a 16-inch barrel, but it only has like a 12-inch rail, so it's really like light. So it's like I got the two extremes here. I got one Radical that has a 15-inch rail, and then I got another one that has a really short 12-inch rail, and I got some other Radicals too, but those are like the two extremes that I have as far as these Radical firearms. So for SHTF, I want rail like that goes all the way out here, so I can load up lots of shit that I'm not necessarily going to be using all the time. Okay, and I'm going to talk about that. Okay, but this gives me the real estate to add stuff if I want to add stuff. Okay, so as far as sling, fast loop sling, this one is from CV Life. Now I've done lots of videos where I talk about the Brash Tactical slings. I like them a lot. The Brash Tactical slings, one of the reasons why I like them is that the fast loop is really fast. Okay, it's fast fast to tighten up, fast to let out. Part of the reason why that's so fast is because the strap is only an inch wide, so there's less resistance in the material. So for like day-to-day training, I like it. However, because the strap is only 1 inch wide, if you're going long distances, especially with a scoped gun, I mean, you can feel the strap digging into you a little bit, like especially if you got like a t-shirt on. So this CV Life fast loop sling, I think is like 1.25 inches in width, so it spreads out the weight a little bit better. Okay, so if you're gonna be walking, you take the fast loop, right? You just cinch it down. It's getting caught up on my hoodie over there. Hoodie. Okay, so you cinch it down, right? All right, and then to retrieve it, you're here. Okay, let that out. You want to do a mag change, bring it up. Okay, so having a fast loop is necessary. Now, when I initially got it, I thought that the fast loop, I mean, it was letting out fast, but it was like when you wanted to take it up, like tighten it up, it seemed like there was a lot of resistance. One of my viewers gave me some great advice. He told me to take some silicone spray and basically spray the strap, and yeah, it works. It gave it a lot more, it's a lot more slippery sliding. Now I'm able to tighten it up faster. Okay, so you got to have a fast loop sling on the gun. It's easy. You need it for carrying the gun. Also, if you're shooting, standing, you can wrap your arm around it and support the gun. So it gives you retention, so nobody can just pull the gun off your body while somebody's fighting with this gun. You're going to your backup gun. So the fast loop is absolutely necessary. Okay. As far as magazines, I love these clear Lancers because I like to be able to see what's in there. I know they make the smoke ones. I like the clear ones because first of all, over time these do get dirty. Okay, so if I start clear and it gets dirty, you can still see what's inside. A lot of people concern themselves with, oh, the other person might see how many rounds you got in there. I mean, if the other person's like an enemy, they shouldn't be that close to you, right? All they should be, they shouldn't even be seeing muzzle flash. They should just, it should be too late by the time they see the muzzle flash. Okay, so I'm not concerned about people seeing what I got in the magazines. I do keep, so that's a 30 round magazine. I do like these 20s. So these are real nice for throwing it in your back pocket. Fits in real nice. Also, if you're shooting prone, these are nice. And what I would do is, I would put some match grade ammo in the 20 rounders that like some 77 grains, which I know will go out to some good distance, 700 yards, 800 yards. And then I would put the cheaper target ammo in the 30 round magazines. Okay, so that's why I keep a combination of both 30 rounders and 20 rounders. Okay, so now let's talk about what's on the gun. Okay, so first thing that you got to have is a red dot. Okay, now the red dot that I have is, actually, let me take this off. So the red dot that I have is the Holosun 503G. Okay, so this has the ACSS reticle. which has the built-in bullet drop compensator, which is great because that gets me out to 600 yards. Okay, it has a bullet drop for out to 600 yards. So now, normally for everyday shooting, I prefer the big window optics like the Holosun 510C, and I wish that they would make a 510C that had this ACSS reticle, but they don't. Okay, I don't know why Holosun refuses to do it, but they don't. So I had to make a decision. What do I need more? Do I need a big window reticle so that I can be like moving and shooting, right? Or being in the truck, you know, driving and shooting, you know? Or would I be better off with the bullet drop compensator? And what I decided is I think that the bullet drop compensator will be more valuable, because this now basically doubles in the function that a lot of people get out of an LPVO. So whereas I could have had, let's say, a heavier LPVO that had a bullet drop, I'm getting it in this, okay? And this is much lighter, okay? So that's why I chose this Holosun 503G. I mean, later on I'll hook up my camera adapter to this, and we'll shoot this a little bit so you guys can see what it looks like. So that's the first thing, okay? And I really concentrate on the things that I'm most likely to need, right? I don't worry. People refer to it as the 80% rule. You want to set your gun up for the things that you would expect to be using 80% of the time, okay? The other what ifs and just in case, you know, forget it. That's an afterthought. That shit goes in your backpack somewhere, okay? It doesn't need to go on the gun, okay? So I set up my gun for what is likely to happen 80% of the time, okay? So 80% of the time, I'm definitely going to be using red dot. So that goes on the gun. The next thing that I'm most likely to use is a magnifier, okay? So SHTF type of situation, you don't want to, if at all avoidable, you don't want to get into CQB combat, because there is there's maybe a 50-50 chance that you're going to lose it, right, in CQB combat. Okay? If you can be shooting at distance, and with the other side not knowing even exactly where you are, that greatly increases your chance of survival. So magnifier must have. And like here you go. Here in the woods, I mean, normally I can barely see 100 yards, but then if, you know, there's like, you know, this what if the situation develops along a road? I mean, road can go for miles, right? Or if you end up like in a shopping area, right, where let's say you gotta go get supplies or something, okay? So you can end up in a situation where you've got 600 plus yards, okay, of open space. So and even if it's not just for shooting, you want to be able to see. So that's one of the great things about the magnifier. I can take this off, and now I can do some observation without pointing the gun at people, okay? So basically, I got a monocular here that I can use that is easy on, easy off on the gun. I can't do that with an LPVO. So that's another benefit of the magnifier on the gun, okay? And the great thing here is, like, I know where my monocular is. I don't have to be going looking for binoculars somewhere else. It's on the gun, okay? So, and again, that's another benefit of this rail. This is a good storage space, okay? So this 15-inch rail here is storage space, because in the daytime, obviously, I don't need that light there. And I have a choice now. I can either take this off, put it in my pocket or my backpack, or I can leave it on the gun, because, you know, just for, you know, because I don't have a better place to put it, okay? So that is good storage space. Now you might say, why not put a, because I've got other guns, even like I have other home defense guns that I have set up with, you know, a rifle with a pressure, you know, I mean, a rifle light with a pressure pad, you know, so I've got that set up too. I've got rifles set up with rifle lights and pressure pads. The reason I prefer this, okay, is because I can take this off. And again, if I'm now, I do keep a pocket light, right? But this gives me the benefit that I can easily take this off, okay? All right, and now I can, first of all, I've lightened up the gun, right? So in the daytime, if I don't need it, I take it off, okay? Or I can now use this light as a flashlight if I need to, right? Without pointing the gun at people. So there's another benefit. You can take the light off the gun and use it as a handheld light, okay? So this doesn't need to stay on the gun, okay? Now, the other thing I have on here is a bubble level, and I've done other videos on the bubble. Now, on scopes that, first of all, let me get this back on the gun so I'm not just sitting here holding this. Actually, let me just put this. Okay. So, I've again with between the magnifier and the red dot with the bullet drop compensator, I'm set up here for a situation where I can shoot out to 600 yards, and it makes a big difference how the gun is canted. Okay, right? It makes a big difference. And I did a video like if your gun is canted just a little bit, that will move your bullet 1 inch to the left, 1 inch to the right. So this little piece here, which costs something like $16 to $17, you know, make sure that the gun is level to gravity, not to the shape of the earth, to gravity, because gravity is what affects the bullet. Okay, so this is cheap, all right, and it's also light. So there's almost like no reason not to have this on the gun, particularly on a gun that is set up for distance shooting. Okay, so I just put that way up in the front. If I need it, I need it. Okay. Now when I put the light on here, okay, and I was testing this, I was shooting this last night. Hold on, let's get this back on here. Tighten this up. Okay, so when this is on here, now obviously a little bit of the light is going to shine into this thing over here, so you lose a tiny little bit of light. Not that big of a deal. Because remember, if you're using this light, I mean, you're not trying to look across 300 yards, all right? Because especially here in the woods, I mean, even though this light here is 1,000 looms, realistically with the trees casting shadows, you really can't see past 50 yards in the woods, right? Or in an area, or if somebody's trying to hide from you, you're not going to see past 50 yards. Okay, so that's the reality. Never mind that on these lights that tell you about they're 1,000 looms. Listen, I mean, look at the headlights on your cars, right? If you point your car into the woods, how far can you see with two big headlights on, you know, with the high beams on your car or truck? Not very far, right? Maybe 50 yards looking into the woods. So even if you have more powerful lights, you're not going to see far, and you're not going to be able to see somebody that's trying to hide for you. So this is really more for an indoor situation or for around the house type of situation. So that's why you want to be a little realistic on what you're going to expect out of your light. And the other thing is these lights over here, the batteries, I think they're only good for like maybe 2 hours max, right? If you're using this. So in an SHTF type of situation, if this, you know, basically if it drags on for any lengthy period of time, after 6 months, if not sooner, you're not going to have a light to work with, right? This light is going to be dead, okay? Any extra batteries that you have, you're going to run through, right? You know, especially if you don't have electricity running in the area. I mean, the batteries are going to, these type of batteries are not going to last long. So this light, you know, is going to eventually end up getting chucked, okay? Because you're not going to be able to find replacement batteries for this type of a light, okay? Now, that happens, right? The light is now garbage, okay? Well, first of all, I got my iron sights here, okay? So this is a good storage place for this, okay? So number one, and I've actually tested this and I've done a video of this. You can look it up on my channel. I dimmed down the reticle, flip this over to the side, flip this up, and with these flip-up sights right here, right? These are the Magpols. These are like $100 each. With this distance over here, right? The sights on this are still further away than the sights that most people have on their pistols, right? On this one, yeah, they're still further away by about half an inch to an inch. Okay, so I've shot this, tested this out to 100 yards, no problem. This sight in this position right here works to 100 yards, no problem at all. Okay, so that's the emergency backup in case the optic fails, right? Because in that type of situation where your optic is unexpectedly not working, you're not going to be fighting, you know, you're not going to be doing a 500-yard gunfight, okay? You're going to be looking to get out of there and then, you know, and replacing the battery in your optic, okay? So at my convenience, right, when the situation is safe, what I will then do is move this further up, right, and then move this further back, because if the optic dies, the magnifier is useless. I've tried using the magnifier with the iron sights, don't work. So if the optic fails and you can't get backup sight, if you can't get a battery for it, or it's just broken, whatever, that comes off, magnifier comes off, rear sight goes to the back, front sight goes to the front. At that point, if you're using flip-up sights, I can remove the bubble level. You don't need it with. The fact is, I can't. I can shoot nice groups to 100 yards with iron sights. All right, about 3 inches. Whereas I get like 1 inch groups, right? But I don't shoot them. My eyes aren't that good. Okay. At that point, I can dump the bubble level. Okay. So the bubble level is really for you for distance shooting. Okay. So we're not done yet, guys. I got some more stuff here, right? Because it seems like we've gone through this whole rifle, but there's something else that I have on this to designate this as an SHTF rifle, okay? And that's in the grip here. So now this Radical, it came with a B5 grip, which I changed out for the Magnum. Okay? The B5 grip, the reason I got rid of it is because it didn't have the storage compartment here. So that's the one thing I changed on this. I don't remember if I put in the ambi. I might have put in the ambidextrous safety myself. So I think I might have done that, but I don't know for sure if it came. I just don't remember. But the other thing I did on this is I had to change out this trigger guard because I don't know why. Right now, I did get this rifle some 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago. Right, I got this back in like 2020. This came with a straight trigger guard, which I hate. I absolutely hate it. I don't know why they ship it with a straight trigger guard. Most of the Palmettos, this is a fixed piece of aluminum. With this one, it's a separate piece in there. If you're using a winter glove, it's more likely to stick. So I changed this out, and this is just a JE Machines trigger guard. The piece is only like $10. So again, I don't know why Radical Firearms doesn't give you a good trigger guard, right? But the thing that annoys me about the trigger guard, and it's really the only thing that annoys me about Radical Firearms, the thing that annoys me about the trigger guard is it's a pain in the ass to get the roll pin out of there. Okay, so my concern, and people have done this when you're trying to use a hole punch to get the roll pin out there. My concern is that I'm going to break the little ears here that hold it in place. Okay, so because you gotta hit it hard, but at the same time you gotta not hit it too hard. So it usually takes me like half an hour to get that roll pin out because this is the part with the serial number. Okay, so if I break that part, right, if I break the ear off, now the part with the serial number is broken, and I'm probably gonna have to live with this rifle, okay? Because I don't know. I don't even know. Even if Radical was to replace it under their lifetime warranty, it still has to go to an FFL because that's the part with the serial number. Okay, so I hate changing out the trigger guards because I fear I'm going to break off these little ears here that hold it in place. So that's the only thing that annoys me about this gun. I wish they didn't have the straight trigger guard. Okay, so but anyway, as I was saying, I changed out the grip because I wanted the one with the storage compartment, and you don't want to lose that piece or anything else that's in there. And I'm going to talk to you guys about the stuff that I have in here. Let me hold this over the table so I don't lose it. Okay, so first thing that came out is 2 Allen keys. One's a star key, and the other one's a regular Allen key. So the star key is for the optic, this Holosun optic, the 503G, and also for the magnifier. Because there's like a riser that goes into this magnifier to match it up to give it the right height, and over time that can loosen. So I got a star key to take care of the optics, and then I got an Allen key for moving the flip up sights, right? Because I know in the past when I did videos on these flip up sights, them being here, people are like, oh, you gotta be at the opposite ends, guys, I got an Allen key. I can move them. It's not a big deal. Okay, so I keep an Allen key there so I can move the iron sights. Okay, so next thing I got in there is a spare battery. Okay, 2032 battery. Okay, I tried putting 2 in there, and I did get 2 in there, but then I couldn't fit all the other stuff in there. So it's like, you know what? I'm gonna put 1 spare battery in there, and then I'll just put other spare batteries in with the rest of my stuff. Okay? So I got a spare battery in there. Next thing I got in there, a spare bolt. Okay. Remember what I told you guys earlier, that the thing that, like, one of the things that broke with my with the radical that ran 22,000 rounds on was I broke the trigger group. Right now, usually what happens with the trigger group when it starts going is that it's either going to stick, in which case you have to put the safety on and off to unstick it, right, so that it will fire. So as long as you know to do that, the gun will work. Or it will go like full Monte, okay, and I've had both of those happen to me. In which case the gun still goes bang, okay, it'll jam, but you still have a gun that works somewhat, okay. So with the trigger group, when it starts going bad, you get some notice, and you can, it's not going to like immediately fail on you, okay. Now the things that are going to immediately fail on you is the firing pin, okay. Now the firing pin does run in the channel, okay. So I've actually had firing pins that have broken in 2 and actually even in 3. And because it's running in a channel, it'll still work in the gun. The only time it won't work is if the tip of the firing pin breaks and like falls out. Now it's got enough to hit the primers, right? So unless you actually break the tip, the way I normally find out that I've broken the firing pin in an AR is when I go to clean it. I take the bolt apart and I'm like, oh shit, I got a broken firing pin. Okay, so I wouldn't have known otherwise. Okay, so unless the tip breaks, that hits the primer and that comes off, the firing pin's gonna work. So, but again, you have a spare one. Okay, the next likely thing that the thing that's broken for me is the extractor. So that's why I got just a full bolt, right? And the gas rings, okay? So these are the other two things I have broken in an AR, like the extractor and the gas rings. So I have it in the bolt. The bolt carrier, it's a solid piece of metal that's not likely to break. I mean, other than the gas key coming completely off. And usually that'll give you some warning. Like when you go to clean it, you'll see that the gas key is like, so yeah. So if you're gonna get a break, it's gonna be something here. Now I've seen. It's never happened to me, but over the years, I've seen people where the bolt has broken in these 2 spots over here, where it's cracked here and broke. So it's never happened to me, but again, that's why you want to. So it's like half of the things that can go wrong are like right here in this bolt. Okay, and the other thing that is likely to happen is the cam, and that again never happened to me, but the cam can also break. Okay, it never happened to me, but I've heard enough people tell me that it's broken, that I had one there, and also I got a cotter pin there. Actually, have I broke? Yes, in fact, I did break a cotter pin. It actually just rusted, and but it was still holding the firing pin in place. It was just and it might have been when I pulled it, it broke. But what's more likely to happen is you're just going to lose the cotter that's in the bolt. So that's why you want to have a spare cotter. Okay. So what I'm going to put this stuff back. So it's a little tricky to put this back, because what I'm going to do is there's 2 holes in the guard over there in the grip. One is where the screw goes through, that's occupied, and there's another hole. Now, if you put the firing pin in like this, it can actually slide up into the action over there. So you want to put it in butt first, so it goes into that hole. Because if you don't do that, it's going to stick out a little bit, and you're not going to be able to fit the firing pin in there. Okay, so that sits right across like the back of the grip. Okay, so we're gonna get that in there. Next thing I want to do is I want to get the next biggest piece in there. Let's get the bolt in there. Should I do it that way? Now let me put it. I don't want these teeth up against the screw, so I'm gonna put this end in first. Let's do that. Put that there like that. All right. So that's in there like that. There's the bolt. Okay, so there's my cam and cotter pin. Just gonna shove this down in there. So that's good because that plastic keeps this thing from rattling around. Okay, so we're gonna shove that in there. Get the battery in there. I really wish I had just a little bit more space. This I'm gonna. There you go. That's gonna go on the side. Take a little work. I got everything back in there. Okay. So yeah, the key was I had to get the battery and the cam pin and the bolt. I had to put them together and like press them in like together as one piece, and went in, and then I was able to get the 2 Allen keys in there. So that's the reason why I only got 1 battery in there as opposed to 2, because initially I had put 2 batteries in there, but then when I tried to put all the other stuff in there, it wouldn't work. So there we go. So the stuff that's in this grip, right, those spare parts, is part of what makes this an SHTF rifle. Okay, that's kind of like a critical component. You got to be able to fix your gun, and also you want to have something to trade if you need to. Okay, so that's also stuff that you know, because you might not just trade, but you might have somebody that you're working with, right, that's in your group, and their gun goes bad. Okay, and now, I mean, you can give them one of your parts because, hey, at least now you got 2 guns shooting instead of 1. Okay, so that's also another consideration. Okay, so hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm going to do a little shooting now with this gun. I'm gonna actually, I want to hook up the scope adapter, and I want you guys to see what the bullet drop looks like. And again, in my opinion, it's like every Holosun optic should have that bullet drop compensator in it. Okay, let's go take a look. Yeah. The 3rd time it's the ones with the hearts for Valentine's Day, right? So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 out of 5. Hold on, 5 out of 5 at 500 yards. Okay, but